session, Commissioner, CRA Board Meeting,
Yes, CRA Board Meeting.
which we'll call to order right now. The first item is a discussion regarding CRA Participation Agreement, Stephanie Russell and Lauren Thomas. We also have Stephanie Eber here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we actually ended up having to cancel the CRA meeting for tomorrow, just so that you know. Because we haven't finished the final details of the agreement. So Lauren's gonna go over that with you today and explain exactly what it is and where we're at with it. And then as soon as we can get a sign off from their group, we will be able to move forward, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so this will just be an agreement between the CRA board and the PID, the Nordic PID #1. And it just kind of details how the funds will be given to the PID, and then again, sets forth the conditions of how they can use the funds, things like that. So it's just basically the way that we deliver the funds to the PID through the CRA. And we've sent a draft over to them, but again, we're just working through kind of just the negotiation on that. So.
But we wanted to bring it to your attention that we were working on it, and we were hopeful that we could get it passed on Tuesday, but it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to get we weren't able to get the contract completed in time as of Friday. So we canceled that meeting this morning. So we do have Nordic on the meeting, and we've met with them, and we're continuing to meet with them and work out the terms of the agreement. But it's just, this is basically a formality. It's a way that we transfer the funds from the CRA to the PID, so.
Yep.
If there's anything specific that you have questions about, we're happy to answer that before we complete this agreement, but it's a pretty standard agreement. It's not dissimilar to what we did with Black Pine.
Chromalox.
Anytime we have a CRA,
there's a participation.
dispersing, yeah. So this one is a little more specific as to what they can use the funds for, which because our new policy changed, so we're implementing all the pieces of our new policy. Yeah, we just wanted to bring it to your attention and let you know that we'll be moving it forward. Do you guys want to see the completed draft before you have a CRA meeting, or?
Yeah, I think so.
So we could do that
Just
too,
send that to us.
just so that you guys have a copy of it and have a chance to look it over. Yeah, we were hoping to kill two birds tomorrow, but we're not gonna be able to, so.
Okay, any questions?
Ran out of time.
Questions?
Just so when will it be on this? Not tomorrow, the following week, or do we?
Probably not till December.
That's probably gonna be, well, and it kind of just depends on how long it takes to just
Go back and
negotiate
forth.
back and forth until we can agree on all of the terms.
Whenever.
Yeah, we'll give you a heads up, and I'll make sure you guys get a copy of it prior to us rescheduling the CRA meeting.
Okay.
So, yep.
Stephanie, do you have any, anybody online? Anything to add?
Brooks there, I don't know if you had anything to say.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for the time today and for Stephanie and Lauren putting this together. I know that the district's council is on here, and I believe that the format that you sent it over is acceptable to us. I think the other thing that the new format highlighted is the amount that the agency is keeping for the agency's purposes as well, which is good. It clearly delineated that, which I appreciate you putting that in there. Aaron or Matt?
We had to tap into Stephanie Ebert's expertise on that one.
Y'all did great. I appreciate that. Defer to Matt or Aaron if they want to make any additional comments or ask questions.
Yeah, no, we've reviewed that document. Lauren, I think it is in good shape, like Brooke had said. I'm just going to propose a few just minor paragraphs that, just kind of copy the requirements from the Interlocal Agreement Act of like how the document gets approved, establishing a term, some of those kinds of things just that are kind of box, check the box for purposes of that legislation. And then I think, Stephanie, we had discussed just that the county would be willing to give like a certificate regarding the validity of the agreement when the district did issue their bonds. So you'll see that language in there in this draft as well. Certainly give any comments that, any thoughts there, Lauren, happy to discuss that, but that's what you'll see. And then just a couple of formatting things, just because I think it came from like a PDF converted to Word. So I'm just trying to, work through those. So you'll see that a little later today.
Yeah, you can get that to Lauren. We'll get that into the portal, and then we'll get the meeting rescheduled for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, all right, thanks,
thank you,
everyone.
appreciate it.
Okay, Commissioners, item B is
you.
adjournment. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Madam
Second.
Chair, thanks.
All in favor?
Good to see you, Brooke.
All right.
Bye.
Aye, we're adjourned. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
I'm ready.
Okay, Commissioners, we are back and we are at the beginning of our work session. Today is Monday, November 17th, halfway through the month. I'm Commissioner Sharon Bolus. I'm here with Commissioner Beachfloor and Commissioner Jim Harvey. We have Chris Crockett here. Item 3 on our agenda is discussion and or action for approval of the minutes for the work sessions held on November 3rd, 2025.
Madam Chair, motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, our next item is a closed session to discuss the purchase, exchange, or lease of real property.
Madam Chair, motion to go into a closed session to discuss purchase or exchange of real property.
Easy for you to say, so I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're now in a closed session. Yes, commissioners, ready for a motion to leave the closed session and re-enter a public meeting.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
We're now back in our public meeting.
Hello,
Good afternoon.
good afternoon.
how you doing?
guys?
Good.
Did you have a fun time four-wheeling?
Yeah,
Was that side by side or a four-wheeler?
side by side.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Okay.
Charlie.
Hello, sir.
Much better.
All right, commissioners, we're on item 5, discussion regarding Dan Mabey rezone and development agreement review and discussion. Charlie, Rick Grover, Sean Wilkinson, Gary Myers. Charlie, you're first up.
Hello, all right. So we talked a little bit about Mr. Maybe's potential rezone. Right now, the conversation has been about a rezone to the form-based zone, primarily because that's the zone that would help him with the kind of development that he's looking to get in that area. At your last work session, you chatted a little bit about density, you talked a little bit about the adjacent properties and size of adjacent properties and all that. And I think the outcome of that was, you guys mentioned that you may be open or amenable to the rezone as long as it comes with the development agreement that restricts it to no more than a certain number of lots. You guys didn't specify the number of lots at the time, but I think at the time it was represented as 10 lots, so maybe you felt like 10 was okay. So before we dive too deep into the specifics of the creation of a development agreement, we just wanted to touch base with you guys. You asked for it to come back at a work session after we work through some of these details with the applicant and see what you guys think. So before we draft the development agreement up, we just wanted to make sure we have the policy directions.
Commissioner Harvey, I'm gonna start with you.
What was this, before we had the development agreement? What's the zone up there? It doesn't exist anymore.
It does, it's FB3 zone, for Forest Valley 3-acre zone. I think what you're thinking is the zone that all of the neighboring properties were developed under, neighboring properties being to the south and the east of this, that was developed under the 1-acre zone.
Yeah, that's where I am, Madam Chair, is I'm okay to go back and give him a little bit of help, but only to the 1-acre zone, so it's consistent with everything else that's up there.
So Charlie, with the 1-acre zone, all of these lots are less than an acre.
Yeah, it'd be, how many acres do you have again?
6 acres.
See this
And
one?
actually we talked about 10, we dropped it down to 6, that makes them about 3/4 acre apiece.
No, I'd want to see them all at least an acre.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Commissioner Ford?
Well, the part I'm struggling with. I don't know if they need to be an acre or not, but correct me if I'm wrong, Charlie, but under the form base right now, he'd have the ability to go in and get his 10 or 11 lots that he first proposed, right?
Could, in fact,
Under form base?
yeah, under form based,
And he's-
without a development agreement, he could do townhomes if he wanted to.
Right.
Yeah, so the development agreement would be the key to the restriction.
So this really takes him down. This gives him a little haircut over what he could do with the form base.
Yeah, with just form based, yep.
So I guess my thoughts are, I'm probably comfortable with the 3/4, just from the standpoint of, he could actually go a lot smaller, not larger. And I'm not a real big fan of acre lots, I gotta tell you. I mean, and the difference between a 3/4, not that it makes a lot of difference, but nobody's gonna start running a bison farm on an acre, let alone 3/4. So I'm probably okay with this. Just, and I say that based upon what his current rights would be under form base.
Anything to add to that?
But
When he says this, there's two options here. Are you talking about this one right here?
This one right here versus what he can do with.
No, I got no comment with that. I've said my piece.
the 6 lots,
That's what you're saying is okay.
He's saying this is okay because another alternative is townhomes under
Mhm.
form base.
yeah, I'm just saying,
That's,
and he's gone from, is it 10 or 11 lots?
10's we started, we could have.
Dan's where you started.
So I just,
We could have been a lot bigger.
to me, this is a
10,
good
we dropped
compromise.
down to
And
6.
the difference between a 3/4 and an acre lot, I dare you to go up there and look at a 3/4 an acre and tell me which one's the biggest when it sits on a hillside.
Yeah, especially when it sits on a hillside, I get that. But what it does is it doesn't, that's where I am, I still like, I like the concept of where it was, because then we don't have any possibility for, I know there's probably not any possibility for litigation anyway, but I think I like what it says. I say that we did the same thing that you're in. Nobody has a leg to stand on with regards to the neighbor opinion. If there are people that are gonna still complain.
Yeah.
So I like to just say you got nothing to, I like the stand where I'm at one. So sorry to put you in that
No,
spot.
that's okay, Charlie, so an alternative then is if we reject this, that Mr. Maybe can come back and ask for a rezone that would be allowed in the general plan to build townhomes here.
Yeah, in fact, without the development agreement, that is what the request is. Would be
Okay.
just to go to that form base where he could do townhomes or whatever. He hasn't, to be fair to Mr. Maybe, he hasn't proposed townhomes from the beginning. It's been single family lots. But he could do, so he could do single family or townhomes.
Okay, given that, then I'm willing to compromise at what's being presented here. I think it's better for the neighbors who we heard a lot from.
Okay, we'll get that drafted up and get it on your guys' agenda if you're comfortable with that.
Okay, anything else to add?
No, I'm good.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay,
I appreciate you bringing that down to from the 10 to the 6. I mean, I think this is a good
It
compromise.
fits well because we do have a bit of a seasonal stream there.
Yeah,
And it hooks up to the road. It's nice. It's a little bit of a transition from the high density across the road to the south to a little larger, less density below. So it's, yeah. Is there any additional materials that I can provide to the commissioners for your consideration?
I've got one question still, Madam
sir.
Chair.
Okay.
If you all are going ahead with this, does he really need to continue? Sorry, Gary,
Sure.
this is just gonna help you. But does he really need to continue to have a 60-foot road going into it?
Is that what his?
That's
plan
what it
was?
says, 60 feet. If he's only gonna have 6 lots in there, can't we scale that back to
make those
33?
lots a little bigger.
And my lot becomes bigger
Yeah,
because I can't count the road.
The challenge with going any smaller than that, commissioners, is snow removal and storage. It wasn't that long ago, we've had winters up there where the snow storage was 8 feet high, which becomes quite a challenge in that area. We do have in our,
Is that what the code also says, a 66
Yeah.
foot road?
60.
we do have a
Okay.
50-foot cross section, but that's only allowed in very unique mountainous
Could-
steep situations.
Okay, got it. So could he make this a private drive and
He
take
could.
over that responsibility, then
Yeah.
have that road be narrower?
We could do an HOA on that and make it a private drive.
Well, hold on. If you do that, and that road become a private drive, you could take that down to, if it becomes a private drive, you could take that down to 16 feet, couldn't you?
We've got a shared private lane regulation that allowed to come down to 20 feet.
at least minimum.
Then you may have you may be,
Close to your 1 acre.
closer to one.
The thing you're gonna wanna pay attention to in that scenario is
Fire truck.
Fire trucks.
you'd still have to put a circle there in the end, but there may be a little decorative thing in the middle, but a fire truck's gotta turn
That's right.
around.
And we've got a
That's right.
96-foot cul-de-sac.
I'd say
Outline
keep
there.
that the same, but
Yeah,
keep the lane smaller, you'd be in good shape, you'd be a lot closer. I'm still where I'm at, but I'm trying to think if it were, that's what I'd wanna do. I'm
Good
trying to
for
help
you.
you.
Gets me closer to where you're at. And I'm okay with that.
That's what I'd do.
You gotta be real close to your acre lots with those.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it
Yeah,
to you
because if it's
guys.
private, then I can just connect that road.
I like the idea of the private lane.
I do too. I'd gate that baby off and say, here you go. That's what I'd do.
Okay,
We'll get it on your
Okay.
docket as soon as we
all
can.
right.
Give that some thought.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good
Good luck to you. Thank you.
Any additional data or things I can bring to you at the public hearing?
No,
I've got all I need.
good luck. Start digging.
Hey, Rick,
Good luck.
will you see if Tammy got that file I sent?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she chatted with me before I came up, but she's
All right.
Okay, Commissioners, now we're on item 6, discussion regarding EV purchase. Bill Ross, Sean Wilkinson, and we'll see if Stephanie Russell shows up.
So, well, Commissioners, I just gave you the information that we've been putting together as we've been. Last year, our Economic Development Department had to put in for the grant, and we were awarded that grant. We were awarded, I think, it was $76,000 to purchase a vehicle, and also needs to include the charging station, which our property management can do the infrastructure install for that, which will save us a lot of money that we can put more towards the vehicle. So in vetting what vehicles to buy, we've came to you and kind of got some recommendations, but to meet our budget and everything, the Ford F-150 Lightning best fits that. And especially as a use for the county. We had Jamie Green, who does a lot of our assessments for the fleet, contacted local distributors, and one that we particularly have, Young Automotive, that we have our contract with to purchase. And when we look at these, we are allowed to buy used and new, but we wanted new because it's electric vehicle, and we wanted the longest warranty we could get out of it. Where this isn't a vehicle we just take out to the garage for them to work on and do. So we'll have to probably have some of that work. So we wanted the best vehicle that would be able to accommodate that for us. So, and warranty. So if you can look if you go to the next page, for us to order, the cost was going to be, well, $66,000 was $209,000. So that if we factory order, and the next page was retail, well, off the lot, they did have one on the lot that we could purchase, and that would be the price, but with the tax and everything, can actually come to $73,000, which eats up a lot of our budget. So we decided we'd like to go with the order one, and that's why we're here today, to get your approval to do that. It takes 5 to 6 months to get those here, and so it will be in next year's budget we'd be paying for this, and then we'd be reimbursed from the voucher that we received the grant for. So we would purchase this out of our fleet budget, which has plenty of money. We talked to Stephanie Ebert, and that we felt like that would be the best avenue to purchase this vehicle. But we're just here to see if you guys are okay with that, and that we can order that vehicle now. We won't receive it till next year, and we'll pay for it next year. So
What's the amount of the grant?
$76,000.
Okay,
I got one thing.
okay.
I would not buy this truck without the Ford warranty. How long is this warranty?
I'm not sure yeah.
There's a 3 and 36, but you can also spend a little more money and get a much longer, much more mild warranty.
Okay.
I would not buy the vehicle without the longer warranty.
Okay.
So it's gonna add to the cost, but
I think
I would get less options to have the warranty.
Yeah, we have money in there. I think we looked at with our property management, we will have some savings there. So to utilize the grant, we don't get a credit, so we'll do as much as we can there. So, and it'd be nice if we could work in, as she mentioned here, the battery extender too.
Well, that's nice. I mean, and it's got the tow package, and so, and I'm telling you right now, only your chassis limits, but that thing will tow as good as any 350 you got.
And just as we've discussed, best use, we were thinking about putting it in the motor pool, but electric vehicles aren't something that someone just jumps in and drives. So we've actually looked at our employees. We originally wanted this for property management, but we feel like it'd best be served if Gary was the person who drove this with engineering. He takes county vehicle home as part of his salary, and is charged for part of that, but he kind of lives the farthest away, plus he would use it every day, would get a chance to do it, and we're hoping to wire the charger to be the 460, 480 volt one, so that it can charge sooner if we can. So it would be cheaper for us to do that than to do the 240. So we'll have to see what that looks like.
It's cheaper for you to do 480 than 240?
Yeah, because when you raise the voltage, the amperage comes down, and you can use smaller wire to run. So it's cheaper for us to wire that into. We already have 480 volt power here. Most only thing that in the Weaver Center that's run off that is our motors and our lighting. The rest of the stuff is all transformed down. So it would be easy for us to provide that, which would be able to charge that a fraction of the time. So he could come here, but have a place designated for him or whoever. The other person we thought, if Gary didn't, would be Stan, would be the other one that, you know, is here and has time to charge it and go out and do things and stuff also. So
Great idea.
anyhow, we okay to
Good.
move forward and order that?
Good,
All right.
like it.
All right, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
like it.
Guys. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
those internet cars,
Hey, Sheriff,
I know.
Gage, what do you know?
what do we, no,
Okay, ready? I
not a
need a
lot,
motion
you know,
to
just
cease
ask the
to
governor.
serve.
I didn't see you up with the governor today. We don't have one on.
Wonder Twin Powers. What was that? Remember that?
Activate,
They touched their raisins.
powers activate. Yes, motion,
Motion to cease the saucer.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, where have you been?
Session here, we have a room full coming in. Got my notes up,
What a room full it is.
I know. It's all the star players.
They were getting some snow up there.
Did you get one?
Yeah,
saw Basin's little snow stake. Got a nice little bunch. They got like 8.
Matt, how are you?
Oh, good. It rained all night at my house, so it snowed up there all night.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been fun.
We'll have to. I'll bring it. How are you? Yeah, it's good to see you. So. Washington, George. Nice to meet you, sir. Good to see you. How's it?
How you doing?
You can sit up to the table if you want, I think we have room.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
Get over here.
And you can ride.
Was that you on the drone? On that little fish race?
There's the story then.
That was a young whippersnapper.
Whipper.
All right,
Yes.
we'll get
There's the mayor.
started. If anybody else shows up, then they can drop in, I suppose. We're on item 7, law enforcement fund discussion. We have Stephanie Ebert, Sheriff Arbon, Sheriff Guard, Matt Dixon, Mayor Mark Allen, Tom Hanson, Sean Warnke. Did I miss anyone? Haley. I don't remember your last name though.
Oh, Rhodes. Yeah.
Okay. Did I say you, Matt? I did. Okay. What we're here for, this is a follow-up meeting, from our big, it was in September, which I can't believe, and we invited all the cities to talk about our enforcement deputies and where they're being billed, and, I didn't want the whole group together again, but just some of the key players. I chose the 2 contract cities that have city managers, no offense, Mayor, but I know that they know a lot more than you do.
We know that too.
I can say that,
We heard it, if I can, Madam Chair.
yes.
Heard a positive report from that meeting, and again, thank you for your support.
Yes. Thank you.
So this follow-up is to just hear from the sheriff on a smaller scale, the chief of guard, talking about the enforcement deputies we have, and what I've asked the sheriff to do is, you wanna talk about the toy box? Yes, you do.
I've heard you've used it already.
Well, I talked to the sheriff about it, but I don't know if everybody in the room knows about the toy box.
Can I add to his toy box?
Well, let him
story?
tell his toy box first, yeah.
Okay,
Story time, hold on.
When I was a young boy,
No, hey, we only have a half an hour.
I'll take 25 minutes.
Do the abbreviated version.
No, I will. So 2-bedroom, 1-bath home up there by the silver water tank in the terrace, actually in Riverdale, with a carport. The basement, to me, the one room in the basement seemed bigger than this room, which would have been the whole footprint of the basement, and the toy box was gigantic. Was probably a dryer box that a dryer came in. But when there were times that my dad would say, you gotta get rid of some, you gotta clean things up. And I used to try to go through and put things around, and it never worked. The only way for me to do this is I had to dump that whole big box over, which was me climbing up on it and pulling it clear over and dumping everything out, then putting back in the things that worked. Then I threw away everything else. That's my toy box. That's how I was able to clean the room. So I could accomplish what my father had asked me to do. That's it.
I will follow up before I let you follow up. This meeting is not to throw away any old toys.
I'm just telling
This meeting is to decide what goes back in the toy box, AKA countywide deputies. And then what stays out of the box.
I would
contract
say
deputies.
the toys that I threw away were the ones that were broken, no
Broken.
longer worked anymore, was obsolete.
Okay,
So
anyway.
we have
Where's
2
the-
toy boxes.
I didn't know the word obsolete.
Oh, so we're sorting the toys. We have 2 toy boxes.
Okay.
Okay, I like that stuff. Okay, sure.
Flex for a 5-year-old.
And the hits just keep on. So was a very helpful analogy, candidly, and as most of you know, I didn't have the luxury of being in the sheriff's office the whole time I've been in this career. But when we went down this path, we reached out to a lot of the past sheriffs. And without saying the word toy box, we asked them about the services that they used to provide. And so we found that there was a second toy box with a lot of stuff that they used to use. Rather than discarding it, they just put them away for a while until they could be needed again. And so based upon those meetings with the command staff, we feel that there are some other responsibilities that we should bring back, but we are not asking for these positions at this budget time. And so, but we have found that we have a need for additional, but we're not asking for them this year, except for an ICAC position that we presented at budget, an additional one.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff. So this is the way that I envision this meeting going. I've asked the sheriff and chief guard to talk about each of the positions, which now sit at 33 that are in the general fund, and to just discuss what each one of those positions does and what they do for the county, and for contract cities. And then afterward, or I guess you can interject if you're nice about it, if anyone from either, and Matt, it looks like you're representing the cities that have a PD.
Pressure.
But if
Well, we don't share our toys, so.
so this is not, and I assured the sheriff, when we talked last week, that this is not a deciding body. We aren't asking you, these players, to hash this out and decide. We just want to hear the sheriff and chief guards, the reasoning behind the 33 positions, and then if you would bring up any concerns, and we'll make notes of those, and then we'll come back at a different time if there are any changes. And maybe, and this is what I said in the large meeting, that in 2017 was the last time this was done. So we're basically just reviewing it to see if there need to be any changes or. Yeah.
So we're at 33, but previous year, what was it at?
You can answer that, or maybe Stephanie.
Are we at 32?
Well, 33 with the
County
security chief.
No, it's 31 without and 32 with.
So that's to your point, Stephanie, it seems like every other meeting, it's either 31, 32, or 33. And so I think our approach to this is a better explanation of the services that we provide, because when we get locked into positions, like if we had a PowerPoint up there that said, here's the positions and here's exactly who it is, what we've learned is a lot of times, with some exceptions, that position wears a lot of hats to accommodate all the responsibilities that general fund has. Hello? So anyway, and I would like to approach it that way, if that's okay. Or does that change?
No, that's fine.
All right, I'll just start right off.
All I'm asking for you to describe is the positions that are funded with general fund. Well, they're all general fund, but with general countywide dollars. I
Okay,
guess we'll get to that number, Sean,
I'm gonna,
to sort of answer your question.
okay, so in the interest of time, I know that Bolas, you asked us for 3 hours and I told you no, to keep it 30 minutes. So let me try it this way. All right, we have roughly in our drone program and in our search and rescue, it's about 4 deputies.
Are you combining that? Drone and.
Drone search and rescues, they run so hand in hand. And then civil process, we have 2 of those. Those are the individuals that are sworn that go out and serve paperwork. Sorry, we have 1 that's current. And there's a need for 2. And then K9 is 2. As you guys, we have 6 dog positions it is, but we deem 2 of them general fund.
Are those in schools?
One of them is Midas. We're down 1 dog. So, sorry, Sheriff.
No, go ahead.
So one of them is Midas, who also fulfills the job here at the Weaver Center. We're looking at getting another dog and also doing that discipline as bomb and apprehension. So we'll have 2 bomb dogs, general fund, with all the events and things in the Olympics coming up. That seems highly appropriate.
So this is where, when you asked the question about, is it in schools?
Mhm.
Schools take a priority, and if we can't pull another person, we gotta pull somebody to go in there, and they might have the dog with them.
Gotcha.
All right, detectives,
Let me ask one more question. So right now did you say we're down a dog?
We're down a dog, yes.
When that canine comes back online, I assume that whatever deputy gets that canine will keep their their current assignment, wherever that is. If it's a school resource officer, then the dog would go into the school.
It depends on our staffing level at that time.
Okay. But there's not an assignment like the Weaver Center.
There's not a Weaver Center assignment. It would just be basically fulfilling one of those patrol general fund duties.
Okay,
detectives is one position. Patrol is 12. We feel that 3, general fund would be adequate to cover the valley, 2 down and 1 up above. And with 4 shifts, that's 3 each. County security, position is 1. Recreational deputy, which we have 2, which this is where it becomes challenging with the schools. When the schools are out, most of those go up there, and can be 8 or 10 up in the upper valley where else needed. We have an events coordinator. This is a position that's like the others, it's for every single city in the county. We use this position, we've used it a lot with, like, for example, the Ogden Marathon. Any other city that requests this service, it's very helpful.
is that a deputy or is that the new position that you
It's the new
created from a
position.
lieutenant?
Yes.
Used to be a lieutenant.
Yes.
So do you call that, is that part of your recreation?
That's a part of our general fund for the entire county that operates in the enforcement
It
capacity.
used to be a sworn position, but now
Okay.
it's
Yes,
You say there's one of those?
Mhm.
one, so
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And then ICAC, we have 1. Some of the concerns that have been shared with us is that every police department has ICAC, which is true, but we are the only one that has a dedicated full-time, and every tip that comes to our ICAC, FBI, every tip from FBI comes to our ICAC. And talking with Detective Stewart, there's many cases from the feds that are every city in the county. And every time we find one that he believes that should be investigated in any city, he always reaches out to that city, their liaison, and offers for them to take it, to assist with it, or pass it to them. He says 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, the agency will say, you can go ahead and run with it unless you want help from us. Strike force, 2 positions, gangs, 1.
Hold on,
Sorry.
I have a question. Strike force, tell me how the other cities are, how they contribute to that.
I don't know that any other cities outside of Ogden and Weber County are currently.
With a person, but do any contribute with money?
I don't know.
Do you know that?
Yeah, we do.
That's what I thought.
With a person or money? How do you do that?
The strike force, I think, is federally funded.
Okay, maybe I'm confusing strike force with.
SWAT.
SWAT?
Yeah, SWAT's, that's all on your dime,
Yeah,
and you
SWAT
contribute
is
through training, and, but there's no dedicated SWAT guy.
No.
I can
Right.
confirm that, but I believe strike force is either HIDA or federally funded. And it's just bodies that we contribute. I know South Ogden, Riverdale, and North Ogden were on a rotation.
Right?
If we can't put a body in, then we put 20,000 into it, I believe is the number,
Okay,
to make up the difference for not putting in a body.
And
This is SWAT.
This is SWAT
Force.
for strike force.
strike force.
Okay. We need to look into that.
The strike force is an interlocal entity. It's a
Uh-huh.
separate
Uh-huh.
existing entity.
Yeah.
Just an agreement.
Right, and I think that we need to look into how cities are participating. Doesn't sound like anybody really knows for sure. Sounds like some are participating.
Well, what happens is it really pretend. So what you see in our business, this is anecdotal, I know a lot of you understand this, is that everybody participates any way they can if they have the time and the resources. Like, we're gonna be sharing some information where we believe that we should have one person embedded in ICE and another person full-time embedded with the marshal's office. Probably 3-4 years ago, it's not a big deal, but with the way the new presidential administration's running, this is very important, and we're happy to explain the reason why. But I think this is the same mentality with these agencies that rotate. If they can do it, and if they can't,
Mhm.
they add $20,000 or whatever that is.
So the road I'm going down, and Kaylee, this is probably for you,
Yeah.
is, if Riverdale's contributing 20,000, but you know.
Yeah, by body, do you mean the full wages, benefits?
Yeah.
Like they're a full-time individual for the strike force? Is that how I should be reading that?
So yes, in the general fund, we have a deputy that we pay for, and we assign them to that function.
And if there are cities that aren't participating, then I think my question would be, why is a city like Riverdale participating, you know, if
Right.
Correct.
if North Ogden's not or something,
Correct.
so that's, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely something to think, okay. Okay, sorry to interrupt, now
No,
you said
this is
Gaines
what
one,
gangs is one.
is that, sorry, here I am again, is that work the same way with other cities?
I think it's only Ogden and Weber County that does that. And this is a great example. So Ogden carries actually quite a bit of burden, if you will, for the entire county. Strike Force is one, and also the ATAC Center too, which is an impressive, I think all of you know about that. So we'll get to that later. The other one is training. We don't have one assigned to it in general fund, but we would like to, and here's why. A lot of agencies like to train themselves. We believe that as a county entity, but all other agencies would want to join where there's a lot of familiarity, meaning when it comes to active shooter. I grew my early years, every agency had their own way of doing an active shooter training. Problem with active shooter is when we do have an active shooter, everybody comes. And training like that should be combined. I'm not saying for every little thing, but those type of visits should be combined. And I think that would save everybody money, really, but it would be more of a burden onto the county, but that's again where the general fund would come from. Traffic, we have two that participate in around the valley.
Hold on, tell me the difference between traffic and patrol.
Traffic is just primarily focused on accidents. We have technology and software that other cities don't have. Drones have become a large component of that when you diagram and investigate intersections or where the crash occurs. From a serious to a more serious of a death, you want the expectation is you get everything you can.
With that traffic unit, the county owns software that we participate in the crash team that's countywide. And the county has the software for the crash team, the EDR software, which reads the. I gotta make my text bigger because I didn't bring my readers. Reads the airbag control module. We have Faro and Total Station. I think that's it with the software. And year to date, the county has participated in 26 crash team callouts countywide.
And these don't take 30 minutes or half an hour to clear up. These are very time intensive. Not just on the accident scene, but afterwards too.
Okay.
Civil staff, you can imagine what that's for. We do not have anybody in warrants.
Hold on, what's civil staff?
Records.
Are they deputies?
No, civilian staff.
So they're not included in this 32, 33 number.
That's what we have recorded as it's in the 32 general fund.
No, 32 would be.
Sorry.
We don't have one. We don't show one currently.
That's Raquel's group.
Yeah. 32 is sworn, but you do have to dedicate a civilian staff member to that.
Right, okay.
32.
Okay,
There you go. All right, warrants. I shared this in our last
are we
meeting.
in new
Yes.
tasks now? Okay, oh, okay.
So this is just to understand why, partially why we should do more. We have, 3 months ago, we did a check. We have 24,000 active warrants in Weaver County. And there is not an active group that pursues just warrants. Warrants are usually, apprehended in the course of the work that we do. And that number just keeps increasing. And so we believe that there should be a team that's what they go out is the worst offenders and the biggest warrants. And something like that, we would love to have every agency join us on that in some sort of a strike force like operation. It's a lot of work, but a lot of people forget is the victims that are from these warrants that they're not getting their restitution.
So you're proposing one additional,
No, in warrants, it's 2, but we're not asking for
Right, right.
that.
but that's what
Yes.
you're saying would be optimal.
The same with ICE. We believe feel that we should have one completely embedded with them. As you guys know, in the federal, we do not have the authority to arrest on federal charges or warrants unless we enter some sort of agreement, which we do have with ICE right now when it comes to those that have through the ICE that they're making all the arrests on. The benefit comes is a lot of times we're looking after the same people, we're chasing after the same people. We don't have access to their data, they don't have access to ours, but when you embed, the benefits are phenomenal. If you remember about 4 years ago, we had someone in our jail that swapped IDs with somebody else and they broke out, not in the sense of breaking a wall down or jumping out of a window, but they swapped IDs. We called the marshals, and because of our relationship inside the jail, they knew exactly where he was in 2 hours. And they apprehended him in 5 or 6 hours. He was in Boise. They have so much equipment and technology and software that I tend to believe that some of the stories about the feds is true. Well, it's a compliment to them. Same with the marshals, their fugitive task force, them and ICE. Also, almost done here. ATAC, I've talked with Dave Wheeloff on the needs. Ogden carries the brunt of that. They have 4 or 6 people in ATAC. And everybody goes to them for the threat assessments and all kinds of information. We contribute one. Dave Wheeloff asked for an additional one. Again, we're not asking for this right now.
But we do contribute one now.
We do want, yes, Kayla. And then the last one is the county security chief, which is a famous unfunded position.
And everything that comes with it.
Yes. So to be clear, we anticipate all kinds of questions, but this is really a summary, and to get a grasp of what the total skill set, time, requirements, and training that goes into this, we would need to have a lot more time with everyone to justify. I know Matt and I have discussed this a number of times about contract or the general fund, and I appreciate his candor. But to have a conversation like this to figure out exactly what we should have with input, we've got to have more time to explain the rules in detail. Because like the events, we gave you a brief summary, ICAC, we gave you a brief summary, but there is so much. Like ICAC, at a request from a citizen, came to a ward activity last night and presented on ICAC. We have one guy that does ICAC, and when he does a presentation, he does about 2 or 3 a month. And most of the time it's in the evening. And when he does it, you have about an hour personal prep for it. And then you get there about an hour early to get everything set up. Presentation's an hour, breakdown is 15, 20 minutes, and then it's travel time. So there's a lot that goes into these things. It's not just come to work, do your job, and then go home. There's a lot of other things that go into these positions that we feel need to have better explanation. I've asked, Gage and I were in that committee, I think Stephanie's there, I asked for a, audit of the general fund, and I know Kaylee's touching the surface of that, trying to gather information. And so that's the path that we're on, because we want to find the right answers as well. So, again, brief summary, there's probably a lot of holes or a lot of questions that you want to help fill in and ask that, but that's what we're here for.
Appreciate that. So you wanna do the math, that's 32. So do we think that's where it is then? It's 32?
Well,
What do you have, Stephanie?
So we've been working on, I think the latest spreadsheets that Julie sent over are 32.
Okay.
As the 32.
Yes.
We did have some changes with that. The event coordinator position, the 32 is just sworn, and so I know
Well, if that's the
That-
case, then
that's
I'm only
something-
at 31.
that's something new this year. That was I guess traded out in the middle of the year of
right.
work through, so.
It kind of add to that, Stephanie. So I know there's this number, 31,
Right.
32, 33, but to be creative, to save money, and to find out, as you know, we all struggle for getting good staff, and at a higher level, like a lieutenant level, it's even harder to bring someone in. So we created this as a civilian position. Yeah, it's not a sworn, but it acts like a lieutenant does, and we're able to find out if there's a greater field to pick from. And so this is why we want, one, to save money, and two, to attract outside or inside staff that could to fill this responsibility. And so, yeah, it's not 32, maybe it's 31, but we're saving a little we can wherever we can.
Okay. Okay. Questions.
Question, when you only have one person in some of these positions and things go really, really bad with that assignment for that position, who comes to assist that person in that environment in your office? Is it contract cities? Or does it just go on
I'll let
staff or
Guard respond to
how
this,
does
but in short, it's whoever we can get available.
whoever's available?
Because the priority is the crime or the complaint, right? And if we don't have the luxury to wait till tomorrow.
Right.
Or when someone's off vacation, we send who we got, what we got now. And it could be a lot of people. That's why we have so many people that are trained in similar disciplines and also can fill in for whatever. You could add more if you'd like.
No, the sheriff hit the nail on the head, and I guess in a financial world on a spreadsheet, you would say general fund would come and help, right? If it was a general fund need. But in public safety, and all of us know this, it's hard to draw that line and say, no, you can't go over here and do that. It's not beneficial to the public that we serve. It's not beneficial to the safety of the officers, the deputies. It's just not. So whoever is available to come and help, the sheriff is right.
You know what, I would have to imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine when things blow up enough, no pun intended, you'll have not only county, contract city resources, you'll have other city resources, you'll have everyone coming to the thing. You know, Matt's team is may respond, Roy may respond, North Ogden may respond. It's all part of that, but you have a core that can take the lead as a sheriff office representative for that general fund activity, though everyone could be helping in that environment. Would that be incorrect to draw that conclusion?
No, and you can take the Fremont school security incident that happened a few years ago. We had every jurisdiction within the county feds, and we even had bomb dogs come up from Salt Lake to assist in that. So when you push the button, you get the resources basically of whoever.
So I'm looking at that as mutual aid. And I know it happens more frequently on a smaller scale, sometimes just between two cities or a city in the county and that kind of thing. So I think for the purposes of the budget, what we want to do is say, and unless those resources are being used for a mutual aid incident, what are they doing during their shift? That's what we're trying to establish. Does that make sense?
I can respond.
Okay.
I think most if most of these positions that we shared are pretty specific and they're not tied to that mutual aid unless they're kicked in of a resource that only we offer that they don't have. But I would say patrol is probably the one that could be teetered on the mutual aid versus general fund. Because, you know, for example, I live in North Ogden. I know that area very well. And you have, correct me where I'm wrong, because I know things change, Lieutenant. But they kind of run as a pack. You guys back each other up very well, right? But I also know that when someone's helping another city, that these other cities are left unattended. And that's their choice and we're all it. But when you talk about general fund, when you look at the way the money's designed to be spent, anybody can choose how they run, but we want to be the one that responds if North Ogden needs help. But if they don't choose us, we want to be able to go into Pleasant View because we know Pleasant View's out helping North Ogden and keep that and answer those calls as they go. And that's the function that you'll see with patrol is the backup, or if they're on a traffic stop, they're in the area you want to stop by. That's why we believe 3 for right now. Ideally, my command staff believes it should be 5 that are general fund per shift. But we think we can handle it with 3 right now. In that role, the supportive role.
Your general staff thinks it should be
My
5.
command staff should be 5 per shift roaming.
We think it should be.
No,
It's currently 3.
it's currently 3.
Well, 12 deputies.
We're
right.
taking the commissioner, we're taking the position. We're not asking for these additional
No, I'm
positions.
just making sure
Yeah.
I know who is what.
Yes, yeah. So it's 3 right now. Per shift.
Yeah, I've heard that. I heard that loud. I got it.
But tell me where those 3 are then at any given time.
Everywhere in the county.
Okay, they could be inside North Ogden.
Yes, they're everywhere. The other thing too, Commissioner, this is anecdotal, but you know, we ran some numbers on our staff. We have like 18 of our staff that live in North Ogden. A lot of these people live in these communities where we live in. And so it's beneficial as they go to and from home. The image of law enforcement is very helpful. And also getting from one end of the county to the other, we're traveling usually through cities. And so they're there to be available.
Okay, and I'm assuming there's communication between the city and whoever, let's say they're in North Ogden, does North Ogden know they're there or request it?
Sometimes, usually not unless they see them, but if they're advised to scan the channels, so if there is a need or it's on their screen, they can be made available. And all this that we're sharing with you is ideally that we're running full staffed.
Yeah.
And the staffing has been a challenge for us lately. We anticipate that'll greatly change next year.
Okay,
Got it.
Matt, I'm gonna go to you. Questions, comments?
Well, I'll confess, I feel grossly ill-prepared. I don't have any. This is the first meeting I've attended. I missed the last one, but my mayor and my assistant was
Did you
here.
the Summer's email? I think you were talking.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to respond. I'm just trying to take it all in. I don't have the data that I would like to see to better understand. So I'm trying to still even formulate the question. I appreciate Commissioner asking the question. If these 3 are on duty all the time in the county, like, do we have data on how often in a shift are they actually needed to backfill? Because Harrisville's helping back Pleasant View, right? Again, I know that was years ago when we had this conversation and you and I've talked about it.
Yes.
That seemed to be kind of the hard thing, and I get it. This analysis is super complex. There's so many moving parts. There's so many different positions. So I recognize how complex this is, but it was always a challenge to try and wrap my head around. Because I recall at the time, and you know, the one that stands out was there was a certain number of detectives that are supported by the general fund. And I recall that number being quite large, like
That's not what it is with us.
at the time, right? Maybe it's changed. But it's that kind of question that it was like, okay, well, if these individuals are not being paid for by any not payroll, if the question was, what do these detectives do? Because every city that has their own agency has typically detectives that back each other and support each other. The contract cities are paying an amount for access to detectives. So part of it, the analysis that was always hard for me was to feel like the data we were given as cities at the time during that discussion would add up to make sense, to say, oh, okay, that seems reasonable, it seems understandable. And I think at the end of the day, it just ended up being great. We'll move one deputy from the contract, from the general fund. Contract cities have to pick that up. I was never satisfied with just the data to support that. And again, if I were given the task to say, hey, go help solve this problem, which I'm not qualified to do, but if that were my job, I would say, great. I would need some third-party expertise around the table that could come in and say, we understand this. Let us help analyze this. Let us help answer some of those questions. I know that's not very helpful to this meeting or this discussion. I'm just telling you kind of where I'm at and where I was in 2017. And since then, I haven't seen any data. I haven't seen any analysis that says, hey, this is how many, these numbers today is really the first I've heard on how many. So again, I don't feel prepared to even know what to ask. If I had more information, I could have prepared and come in and gone, hey, Sheriff, I got a question looking at this, but anyway, so on the spot, it's just super hard to know, but you know where I've been.
We've talked a
And
few
we've talked a
times.
lot about it. And the other, let me just add this and then I'll let you go, Sheriff. Of course, the other concern for cities that have our own departments has always been, are the contract cities paying their fair share? That's our belief, right? And the contract cities, I appreciate them. I think their question is always, are we getting the services we're paying for? Right? Anyway, Sheriff.
So my understanding, based upon our past conversation, it seemed like it was the patrol and the detectives. And we've addressed this throughout the years. And I know you see little small steps, but when we were called to ask to provide this meeting, I mean, we've talked, Commissioner Bowles and I have talked about this in the past. Even in our office, we're consciously aware of where the money should be spent and how do we justify it. And when I heard you said we had this many detectives, I went to Chief Gardner and says, where are we at on that? And he said, I don't know where that came from. Right? And in the patrol, I mean, I don't see where if it's 5 or 10 per shift, but when you don't have staffing to begin with, it's hard to fulfill these responsibilities. So everyone's switching hats. And that's why I went to the commission. I don't know, contract city or the non-contracts, we're asking for 10 additional positions. Because to Chief Guard's point, to draw that line, if, we all have offices we work in. And if you have an office of 10 people that does everything you need, but all of a sudden it's now you have 5, who's doing what? Because we're always helping somebody else get their job done. And so when you're limited with positions, and then I've told all of you this, that I believe that we should be 120 to be properly staffed to get everything done. That's my belief. But in this conversation, we're already struggling with things, like I said, with staffing. That's why we're asking for 10. So when we have to draw that line and we have a third party person, Kaylee here, that I think is going to help us get there to help with the data that you're looking for, because we want to see it too, right? If we can clear this up, that's what we want to do to improve it. But I do know there's a lot of things that we don't do as a sheriff's office that we should be doing. We did a presentation. I know Tom and I think the mayor was there. Sean, you were there. But we talked about the positions and what they do. And when you compare us to other counties, they have a little bit more than we do. But we also think we're smarter and more efficient, to be candid with you. And then we can regulate this and apply it more accurately. And so that's what we're hoping to accomplish this next budget season. And then, but yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we haven't been doing as a county that our county's doing. And I know that during the years when I talked to Terry Thompson, he told me how they started cutting. There was the division of what should be contract and what should be general fund. And so there's a lot of the toys that were put in another box that we need to bring back, but we're not asking for those right now.
The other thing that I think makes this difficult, sorry, Sean.
No.
Is you have to have a base, you have to have a contingency, and it's been brought up before. What do these deputies do? I think Commissioner Bola said this, if there's not a major event. There's not a major event every day, but we all know that we have to have them there for when there is. And I've shared this analogy with the sheriff. Most of you, if not all of you, pay an enormous amount of money for a fire department. And you pay them to, for the majority of the time, sit in lazy boys, play Xbox. Part of this is in jest because I'm a
Like,
cop
there's
and
no,
right?
nothing intended.
But we pay them to be there for that emergency. We don't have structured fires every day. We don't. We don't have an enormous amount of tall buildings in the county, but I would dare say that every fire station or every fire department in the county has a ladder truck. Where's the need, right?
Contingent.
It's contingent and you have to have those resources. So part of this 32 is we have specific duties that we can tell you 100% certainty or general fund, they have to happen there by statute, whatever. County security chief, search and rescue, and things like that. But we also have to have people there to step in when those duties or those deputies aren't there to fulfill those duties. So you have to have that contingent. And I think that makes gathering data and analyzing this very difficult in public safety. Like it's not a spread. You can't put it on a spreadsheet and say, yes, this is it.
Sean. Sorry.
I cut off Sean.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm trying to get a little bit oriented. I'm hearing the conversation. I've been with West Haven for coming up on 2 years, but beyond that, I haven't really participated or understood sort of this dynamic. But just sitting here and listening, we talked about where we started between 31, is it 31, 32, or 33? In my mind, that sounds really similar. And when you think about, the scope and scale of what we're trying to do, I understand there's a lot of variability. When you allocate costs, it's very complicated. It could change from 1 week to the other. In my mind, what I think I'm hearing is that we're essentially achieving proportionality. And that's all I think we can do is, and when you think about the scale of the county's budget, it doesn't make a difference. I just can't see it making a difference. Whether it's 31, 32, or 33, if you just took the average, it just feels like we've achieved rough proportionality if we feel like it's within that range of officers. And I think that's the best you can do with this type of exercise, unless I'm misunderstanding or.
No, I think you're right. I think the question is that we wanted to address, and you guys have given a lot of information, which you and I have talked about already, is to whether it's in the low 30s or whether it's 40 or whether it's 25. I think that's what we're trying to establish. We're trying to, I guess, reestablish that number. Just because it hasn't been done in, 8 years.
So you think there's that degree of variability?
I don't know.
I'm hearing the sheriff say it's in the range of 31, 32, or 33, but the commission's thinking it might be 10 off or
no, but for example, Sheriff, and we're running out of time. The Sheriff, you said the one that would be teetering on, is it mutual aid or general fund, would be the patrol. That's 12 deputies. So
3 per shift.
So 12, if it's 12 deputies, and we think that maybe patrol doesn't belong general fund, that's a big chunk.
Okay.
So, and then we yeah, sorry.
I would just throw out, one or two or three deputies actually it makes quite a bit of difference. If you throw that into the formula that we have, based on the general fund percentage that's paid, one deputy is a difference of a couple $100,000. That's pretty big, and especially if you're talking two, that's almost $500,000 difference. Just
yeah, but I'm thinking about spreading that number across all the taxpayers in the county, and in that scale, I just don't see.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, but
I think what we're after is just
Residents.
the best accuracy, because you're right, and I mean, we've all been saying it, is it's so fluid. It's so fluid, we know that we can't come up with the exact number year after year. That would cost too much for us to figure out. So we just wanna make sure we're revisiting, the numbers.
So it sounds like it might not be as close as 31, 32, or 33.
I mean, even if we just had the conversation about patrol, right, that would affect it a lot. Or detectives, which, you mentioned too. In my numbers from the presentation from the big group, there was 1 fraud identity theft, 3 ICAC, and 1 area detective, so there's 5. If you're mentioning 2 today, then maybe 3, do belong to the contract cities, so. That's kind of what we're trying to sort out.
The duties is one, well,
Well, I don't know how we can make this work when we keep talking 31, 32, 33. Were we talking that 2018, 2017, or is that the number you're talking about? As you look at all these things that you went down, did we talk about ICAC? And
ICAC wasn't there.
wasn't there in 17? Strike force, how important is that? Drones wasn't there. Gangs is, that. Not going down.
The population significantly increased in the last 10 years too.
Yeah, crash teams, warrants. We've just let those warrants from 2018 sound like build up till now. And we don't have enough people to go out and do those. So why are we keep talking about 31, 32, 33 and go up to 40 that somebody said? Why aren't we talking about those numbers to get these? I don't know what you call them, but those are scary. ICE, marshals, county security chief, things like that. These are new things that weren't even on the table.
Can I
8
end on
years ago.
something?
So.
That are new, yeah.
That are new.
Yeah, that's why I said, when we start putting things back in the toy box, we're looking
Yeah.
at things that we haven't had in the past.
We gotta buy new toys, drones, ICAC stuff, gang stuff, whatever, you're talking about, what was that, the crash team? That new stuff, those are new toys, we gotta ask Santa Claus for it. They're not in that toy box.
Sean, did you have, sorry, did you have anything else?
No, thanks for letting me,
Okay.
make some comments, I appreciate it.
I guess just back to the question about the patrol, and so we're talking about the patrol are the 3, call them drifters, right? They're in the system and then they can backfill when needed or respond.
Right.
As needed. I guess my question would be, if those, well, I guess we're just talking more about funding. My question would be, if those 3 didn't exist, what happens system-wide?
puts more of a workload on the others. It's
Right, so Ogden now maybe has to back Pleasant View if they're helping North Ogden, or
It also puts more of a workload on
your
the
current,
existing general fund deputies.
yeah.
Who are already wearing several different hats because of all the new things coming on and everything else.
Can I add something to that? There's been this discussion, commissioners, about double taxation. Candidly, or frankly, we're getting quadruple taxed. County has a tax for law enforcement. Each city has their own tax for law enforcement. The state and so do the feds. This is a redundancy line. I can call the feds, I can call the state, and we can have a lot of resources come. And so the other thing that's interesting too is if we're talking about finances, there's only one class 2 city that's in Weaver County. Class 1 and class 2s are required to have their own police departments. Every other one is not. So cities have a choice to have. So even the contract cities pay a property tax, and then they pay another amount for an additional service. But those general fund, they don't just back up contract cities it's everybody, because they pay for it as well. So there's a thin layer of law enforcement that the tax that I'm required to do by law. The cities that have their own police department, all except for Ogden, are not required to have their own police department. They choose to have it and to pay and assess and determine the needs of the city. And I'm not an advocate, I want to be careful what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they should all join the sheriff's office, but if they did, they'd save at least 50%. Right? And so we're required. And I think as we go forward with this, when we talk about these deputies, when I, command staff said that we should have around 40 to 43, if we're gonna have this meeting and by chance it goes to budget and these positions are cut, I think to what Mayor Allen's choice is, if we're gonna cut them just because they deem not needed, I could use those to go into the marshals and the ICE and the warrants and the other services that are highly needed. So I think maybe the conversation ought to be, what's their proper role? But if we're cutting I fear that if we start cutting, that we're gonna move some other services and lose out and find some toys somewhere else that Santa has to provide.
So just so we're clear, and we've had this conversation a number of times, we're not talking about cutting anything.
Well,
We've
there's,
had this conversation
I
a
know,
lot of
but
times.
the contract cities have reached out and expressed that, so.
We're talking about funding.
Right.
We're close on time. Did you have anything to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Did I represent you and the Northern properly?
You did.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners,
I'm good, thanks. Great information.
Commissioner Harvey, anyone else?
I just had a
Yes.
question for Matt. What, you spoke about data that you wanted to see. Your name was Matt, right? I got that right. So what data explicitly do you want to see?
Well, I've tried desperately to get my computer to pull up my notes from 2017 to bring back, because there was a lot of information presented.
Right.
Right, that's back when I think the contract cities had a little group meeting and then those of us with our own departments. So I was trying to go back to find that to say, okay,
Right.
what did we have available? But at that time, if I recall, it was really, the conversation was, hey, sheriff, help us understand what the core department needs to be. And then everything else should arguably be supported by contracts. And that was the effort that went into the last time I was a part of the discussion. So I'm happy to get back to my office and have access to that again, because I was trying to pull it up here and finally just gave up because I couldn't get in, but. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, but it was that kind of information, like, okay, how many deputies are on patrol for the general fund? And what are they doing? How many detectives? Like, the one I can remember was detectives, because we had a lot of discussion about, there was 9 or 10, and we were talking about what do they do? What caseload do they manage?
Right.
Because if we have, so.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I kind of understand what the city police departments, how they're viewing the situation.
Well, keep in mind, I'm a city manager too,
Oh,
so
city
if my chief were
manager,
here, he would probably have
He probably
a
has something
better
to say.
answer as to, well, here's the
No, I
kind of
understand.
data he would like to see, so.
No, and I wasn't expecting like all the data. to be
Right,
handed,
right.
But I just kind of, I want to make sure I understand kind of where everybody's coming from with this, just because I think to your point, this is very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts.
A
And
lot,
so it's
yeah.
kind of important that we all kind of understand, hey, this is the data where everybody's seeing. I think if everybody shares what they got, I think we can, paint a much clearer picture. And I think we can get to a resolution that everybody's gonna feel happy about, or at least.
And I don't think anyone's arguing, everybody wants the same thing. We
Right,
want what's
absolutely.
fair and equitable for all
That's right.
communities,
Everybody does.
because we all work together. At the end of the day, when my residents call 911, they don't care who shows up,
No.
who can get here first,
Yep.
keep us safe.
Yep.
So we're all working towards the same end, and that is, I don't hear the contract cities arguing anything different than
Right.
we want what's fair and equitable for the system. And so it's a matter of, and maybe you're the expert they've brought in, but I haven't met you yet. but-
She's our internal auditor, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Kaylee.
Awesome.
Rhodes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Real quick, would it be inappropriate to say? The answer that we need is, what does it take to keep the peace in the county under his watch? Under his state mandate to keep the peace? Is that
What's
too
being-
naive?
Well, I think you definitely have to consider what's being provided by other cities.
Yeah.
But yes, that's the equipment. Okay,
Do other jurisdictions have canines? How many canines do we have?
Yeah, most of the jurisdictions.
Mostly all of them have one canine.
I think Harrisville is the only one that doesn't.
Okay,
Yeah.
most of them do. Okay.
That doesn't mean there's a dog on all the time.
right. They just have a canine unit. Is it called a unit? Oh, is the unit collected?
They all train together, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks for the invitation.
For this one.
Yes, please.
If you don't mind, Sheriff.
This is,
Already.
Adjourn. Let's adjourn first.
Matt?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.